Cassian Andor begins to remember his past life. He takes the lives of 2 soldiers, and they start looking for him. The guy wants to contact a buyer because he has a valuable commodity. Cassian Andor. A man in a jacket and hoodie is walking down the street in the rain. He is walking into the corporate area of Prioxmorlen. The man almost goes inside the club, but the security guard at the entrance stops him and tells him that guns are forbidden, communication is forbidden, and you can't borrow money, and you can't rage either. A man, Cassian Andor, the main character, enters the club. At the bar, Cassian takes a drink. Cassian glances at the girl, but some man at the other end of the bar tells him that she will blow the guy off and not to even think about it. A girl approaches Cassian and asks if he came alone and if they've had him before. Cassian says it's the first time here. The men on the other end of the bar tell the girl that they came earlier and have been waiting for a while. The girl tells them not to rage and that they will be served by someone else. Cassian tells the girl to do better with the men because this is company town. She pronounces that those men are just outposts, even though they like to pretend to be cops. Cassian says he found out from a buddy that they have a girl working here with Canary, a minor system in the middle ring. The girl says she'll go find out and leaves Cassian to it. The men at the bar cling to Cassian and ask what he's looking at them like that for. The girl comes back and says that the girl with Canary used to work here but stopped about a month ago. The girl says they have others just as good. Cassian wonders where she went. The girl asks who he even is. Cassian says he is looking for his sister. The girl says that she just disappeared and it's better to let the guy go. Cassian asks what her name was, but gets the answer that they don't give real names here. Cassian leaves the club. He is walking in the rain. Suddenly he is accosted by 2 male voices telling him that the guy is in the Primora corporate area and workers have to show ID when asked. They also talk about the curfew for guests and that they'll have to seize his transportation, if any. The men approach Cassian closely and ask him to raise his hands. Cassian says that he has 300 credits in his pocket. The men say that is just enough. They tell Cassian to get the money, but the guy says he doesn't want any surprises and let them take it themselves. When the men approach, Cassian lashes out and points their guns at them. One of the men tries to bring his colleague to his senses, but realizes he's not breathing. He raises his hands and tells Cassian that they will surrender together, that there has been an accident. Cassian shoots him. Cassian runs away, gets on a flying device and flies far away. Morlana System, Free Trade Sector. A small red B2EMO robot is driving down the street. B2EMO. Dogs run towards him, and the robot gets scared, but they rush past. The robot drives up to a sleeping Cassian and tells him that he has brought what he asked for. Cassian remembers the girl as she calls him to look at something outside. Cassian is a little boy. He runs out after the girl. All the people look up at the sky. There is something flying. Buimo asks where Cassian was yesterday and why he isn't saying anything. B2EMO says that the boy was looked for by Brasso, to whom Marva Andor said that Cassian went to ruin his reputation with questionable friends. Brasso. The woman also says that Cassian will soon get into trouble at this rate. Marva Andor. Cassian beckons B2EMO over to him and says he realizes that deception asks for a lot of energy. But can a robot lie? B2EMO says it has a lot of charge. Cassian asks the robot not to tell anyone that he saw the guy, and not to say he knows how to find him. Cassian also says that he has to go already, and that he is running late. He can't take the robot with him. Cassian comes to see Brasso. The man says he stopped by the guy's place yesterday, then came home, washed up, and fell asleep. Cassian says the man should say otherwise, that he stopped by Cassian's place, didn't catch him. Then saw the guy at the Bridge Hotel and offered him a drink elsewhere, but Cassian didn't want to go there because he owed a lot of people there. Then Brasso remembered he had a stash at home and they went to it, got drunk, and fell asleep. Brasso wonders who is going to ask and then makes up a story. He tells Cassian to go to work when he gets out of the mess. Morlana 1. Corporate Security Headquarters. Cyril Karn brings a report to his boss, the inspector, that talks about yesterday's incident where 2 employees died. Cyril Karn, the boss, notices a change in the soldier's uniform, and Cyril Karn says he customized it. The boss says he knew one of the dead men. The man commanded a brigade on the 4th. Cyril says the man's rank then dropped and he served as a guard here. The boss reads that there's a lead, a dark-haired guy asking about the girl with Canary. But the incident happened outside the neighborhood, so there are no witnesses. The boss says that the case is complicated and the timing is bad. Cyril starts saying that with proper resources he will solve it. The boss stops the soldier. He says that this case bears all the hallmarks of an unfortunate misunderstanding. 2 Primor employees got into a mess with a sad ending. The boss says it should be treated as an accident and that the men died in a fight. The inspector boss says the men were in a brothel and drinking on duty. The boss inspector says there needs to be a story that is tragic but inspiring. He explains that he is about to go to the top brass and give a report on crime rates. He says his speech should be brief. The boss says he expects an accident report when he returns and leaves. Cassian comes in to see Bix Colleen at work. Bix Colleen. He asks if the girl can get in touch with a shopper friend, saying he has the goods. The girl pronounces that everyone has the goods and that the buyer will come at the end of the month. Cassian says that he needs it now. Bix spells out that that's not how it works. She's putting together a shipment and only then calls. Then the girl looks at Cassian and asks what he did. Why can't he wait? Cassian says the girl's friend will want to buy it. Cassian says he has an untraceable module with whole vector crystals and an imperial seal. Bix asks how long the guy has had it. She gets angry and says the guy has been hiding it and surely the item is from her loot. Cassian claims he hasn't. He asks if the girl will call the buyer and says the item is worth enough to lay low. The guy says he needs to get out of here. Bix tells him that he's withheld the loot. In response, he hears the same that she in turn hid some of the profits. The girl says there is an alternative, hinting at selling her and the share. Fellow colleague Tim Carlo walks up and asks if they will be bidding on tomorrow. Tim Carlo. As he leaves, Cassian asks if the girl has been with him for a long time. Bix says he will let the buyer know. Tim tells Cassian that the girl is upset when he arrives. Cassian tells the guy not to worry. He advises Tim to find a woman easier.
You better find yourself a less complicated woman.
Cassian reminisces about his childhood again. Cyril Karn looks at the map on the monitor. A soldier nearby says there's something sublight. Cyril wonders how this something got past the checkpoint. The soldier says there's a lot of traffic at night. Cyril mumbles that they have unprotected borders and the soldier doesn't care. Cyril gives a mission to find who it was. Cassian meets North, who wonders where his deposit is. North. The man brings Vetch along with him. Vetch. Bix goes to a special place and using an encrypted channel calls the buyer. Cyril Karn instructs the staff to send out a cry to Kinari. A dark-haired man is wanted. Pegla tells Cassian that it is best not to take the flying machine again. Cassian remembers how, as a child, he went hunting and a little girl was left waiting for him. Bix negotiates with the buyer. Tim, in a fit of jealousy, tells them about Cassian. Cassian is found out about Cassian at security headquarters and sent to get him. Luthen Rael flies to Ferrix. Cassian Andor remembers seeing something unusual as a child on his way to hunt. The man in the bell tower makes a ringing sound. Pegla turns off the lights in the parking lot. Tim approaches Bix and asks if she is okay. The girl says she's just tired. The guy wonders if she's tired enough not to have dinner. While Bix goes to close up the workshop, Tim turns on her computer. He reads an announcement on the screen that the Premora authorities are looking for a Kinari man living on Ferrix for questioning. The announcement also asks for any information to be reported to Preox Morlana security headquarters. Cassian arrives home to Marva Andor and B2 Emo. He tells the woman that he has a bruise on his face because he tripped over a rock. Cassian says he would have stopped by the house in the morning, but he had things to do. Marva Andor tells B2 Emo to read something out. The robot reads out the announcement. Marva Andor asks the guy who else knows he is with Kenari. She says she wrote it in all the documents. The woman starts to panic and lists those who know. She then asks Cassian what he did. Emo says that Bix is looking for Cassian.
What have you done?
Cassian meets up with Bix at some bar. The girl asks what the guy did. Cassian says he was attacked and overdid it. He was pressed and he retaliated. He says he'll sell the device to the girl just to get away. Bix says the buyer is on his way and will arrive in the morning. Cassian says he will not forget it to the girl. Tim sees them. He goes to a phone outside and makes a call. At Preox Morlana's security headquarters, the officers are reviewing Cassian's data. They see that the guy from Festa is so indicated. One staffer says the call was anonymous and may be a joke altogether. The girl staffer reads that the guy is listed as having mutinied, destroyed Imperial property, and assaulted an Imperial soldier. A picture of Cassian appears on the screen. Cyril Karn looks at the guy's picture. Bix comes to see Tim. The girl says she hasn't slept, and Tim invites her in. The couple kisses. Cyril Karn approaches Sergeant Linus Mosk. Sergeant Linus Mosk. Cyril says they have a very serious suspect, and there is no time to waste. He asks how many men they need. Sergeant Linus says 12 men and Cyril himself. Sergeant Linus says that an officer in combat is inspiring. Sergeant Linus pays his respects to Cyril Karn and the inspector boss. Sergeant also says that the deaths of 2 colleagues are outrageous. Sergeant Linus says that he has seen this kind of negligence before. Half measures, let's not be hasty, we'll see what happens. All of this discourages discipline. He resents how you can look your people in the eye, knowing that you have not done everything you could. He spells out that he needs to be tougher on the sponsored planets, because incitement is rampant there. He says that the corporate forces are the Empire's first line of defense, and the best way to keep a blade sharp is to strike with it. Cassian pulls out the device he's going to sell, takes the weapon. Cassian remembers how they used to hunt as children. Luthen Rael arrives on Ferrix. Luthen Rael. Bix wakes up. She sees Tim sitting next to her and asks what the guy is doing. He says he didn't sleep well. Bix asks if the guy can open the workshop, saying she has things to do. Cassian is looking for communication modules. B2EMO says the guy wants to tell him where he will hide the credits. Cassian pronounces that if he can, he'll bring them himself, but if not, he'll tell the robot. Cassian tells B2EMO that his mother will be looking for him. Marva Andor searches around B2EMO's apartment. She goes into Cassian's room and picks up a stick. Cassian and the other kids with those sticks sit in the woods in ambush, while their girl leader walks over to the crashed flying machine and checks to see if anyone is alive. One of the men turns out to be alive and shoots the girl. The children then launch arrows at him. Cassian comes to Zanwan's house. Zanwan. The man is reading about Kenari, a middle ring abandoned after an Imperial mine accident, under an Imperial ban. Cassian asks Zanwan how much it will cost to fly today. Zanwan says 900, because Cassian wants urgency and secrecy. Cassian says he only has 5. The men agree on 700. Cassian tells Zanwan to be ready in an hour. Sergeant Linus Mosk, Cyril Karn, and the other soldiers head over to Cassian. Sergeant Linus shows a picture of the guy and says he doesn't seem like a serious opponent, but 2 of their colleagues have already died. The plan is that Sergeant and Cyril will go with the Western team to arrest Cassian. The Eastern and Northern teams will be in position in case they escape. He passes the word to Cyril Karn. Cyril says there are times when the greatest risk is inaction. This is such a crucial moment. Cyril says that he does not represent the best team to go into battle with. He says that there is no need to doubt the path to success and justice. A man starts talking to Luthen Rael and asks how much it cost him to park the ship. He says that they are being charged money for them to be able to spend it. The man says he is old, but it used to be possible to drive through the wasteland here, on a straight road, an earth quarry. The man says he's in the propulsion business. He makes attachments and boosters. The man also pronounces that anything worth anything can be found on Ferrix. Cassian walks down the street.